Good morning all my dear students. So this it is our third lecture of fuel. In this lecture we will see what is proximate analysis and ultimate analysis. But before that we have to see some numericals based on bomb calorimeter and Boyce gas calorimeter. This one it is the formula of GCV and NCV of bomb calorimeter for solid or liquid fuel. So GCV is equal to capital W plus small w into T2 minus T1 upon M. This it is in terms of calorie per gram or kilocalorie per kg. This formula it is without correction. Now here capital W it is nothing but the mass of water that we have taken in bomb calorimeter, that is in copper calorimeter that we have taken. Small w it is water equivalent of calorimeter. T2 minus T1 it is nothing but the rise in temperature. Small m it is nothing but the mass of fuel that we have burned. This it is in terms of calorie per gram or kilocalorie per kg. Now if we want to convert that in terms of joule, then we know that 1 calorie is equal to 4.187 joule. So the formula it will be W plus W into T2 minus T1 upon M into 4.187 joule per gram, or it is kilojoule per kg. Now if we will add the corrections, that is fuse wire correction, acid correction, cooling correction, then the formula it will be, or that formula, corrected formula, it will be GCV is equal to W plus W into T2 minus T1 plus TC, that is nothing but cooling correction that we have to add, and then we have to subtract fuse wire correction and acid correction. So this it will be minus TF plus TA divided by M. This it is in terms of calorie per gram or kilocalorie per kg. Now one numerical we will see. If 0.85 gram of coal sample containing 3.4% of hydrogen on complete combustion in bomb calorimeter increased the temperature of surrounding water from 22.1 to 25.1, the calorimeter has 1700 gram of water and the water equivalent is 600 gram. So calculate GCV and NCV. So we have that GCV formula. So in that, W plus W into T2 minus T1 upon M. So 0.85 it is nothing but the weight of that coal sample. Then 1700 gram, that is nothing but the mass of water that we have taken in calorimeter. 600 gram it is nothing but the water equivalent of that calorimeter. Rise in temperature it is from 22.1 to 25.1. So the rise in temperature 25.1 minus 22.1 divided by 0.85. So our answer it will be 8117.65 calorie per gram or kilocalorie per kg. Now if we want to calculate the NCV, then in that our formula it is GCV minus 0.09 into percentage of H into latent heat. If latent heat separately it is not given, then 587 that we have to consider. Then here it is given 3.4% of hydrogen it is there. Now in that formula already we have taken that in terms of percentage. So don't convert that in terms of percentage, as it is we have to take it. So GCV it is nothing but 8117.65 minus 0.09 into 3.4 into 587. So our answer it is 7937.99 calorie per gram. Again one more it is given. So here it's like same as our previous, only the thing is that here corrections are given. Cooling correction, fuse wire correction, acid correction, that is given. So that we have to consider. If in that numerical corrections are not given, then don't consider it, or we can use that formula without corrections. If corrections are given, then we have to use corrected formula. This one it is the formula to calculate GCV of gaseous fuel. Boyce gas calorimeter that we have to use. Formula it is with no corrections, because here we are assuming that whatever heat it will liberate by that fuel, whole heat it will absorb by circulating water. So GCV is equal to capital M into T2 minus T1 upon M kilocalorie per meter cube. Here capital V, it is nothing but how much amount of fuel that we have burned. Capital M, it is nothing but mass of water that we have circulated. If we will subtract small m into 587 upon capital V, m it is mass of steam condensed, then it will give us NCV. So NCV is equal to GCV minus m into 587 upon V. So this it will be kilocalorie per meter cube. So this one, it is the numerical for Boyle's gas calorimeter. Data it is given. Volume of gas burnt, that is nothing but capital V. Mass of cooling water, capital M. Temperature of inlet water and outlet water, that is T1 and T2. Mass of steam condensed, that is small m. And we have to calculate GCV and MCV. We have that formula. GCV is equal to capital M into T2 minus T1 upon V. GCV is equal to capital M T2 minus T1 upon V. This it will come in terms of kilocalorie per meter cube. In some books, in place of that capital M, W it is also given. Then the NCV it is M T2 minus T1 upon V into, or we can say that GCV minus M into 587 upon capital V. We can put the values and then we will get the result for GCV and NCV. Now we have to see some fuels in detail, like first coal, or solid fuel. Coal is a highly carbonous matter that has been formed as a result of alteration of vegetable matter under certain favorable conditions. So vegetable matter, it is converted in terms of highly carbonous matter, that is nothing but the coal. What that coal contain? Coal contain, it is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and besides this it contain non-combustible inorganic matter. The process of converting that plants to coal, it is called as coalification, formation of coal. So the formation of coal under effect of pressure, temperature and bacteria, that is nothing but the coalification. These are the different grades of coal. So the wood, peat, lignite, bituminous. In that bituminous again, then subbituminous is there, and then the last one it is anthracite. These are the different grades of coal. These are different ranks of coal. We know that as we go from wood to peat to lignite to bituminous coal to anthracite coal, carbon content, its calorific value, its hardness, its black color, its luster, it will increase from peat to anthracite. And from peat to anthracite, moisture content, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and sulfur and volatile matter, it goes on decreasing. So from peat to anthracite, carbon content and calorific value, it will increase. We are interested in calorific value. So it will decide the price of the coal also and the purpose of its use also. So if we want to use that coal for domestic purpose, then we can use that peat or lignite. But if we want to use that in for industrial purpose, there we want good calorific value, high calorific value, so there we can use that anthracite. But its price, it will increase from peat to anthracite as its calorific value, it will increase from peat to anthracite. Now to decide the grade, its rank, some analysis are done. So now we have to see some analysis. To decide the quality, rank and price of coal, two types of analysis can be done. First one, it is proximate analysis. In that proximate analysis, what we will analyze? We will analyze percentage of moisture, volatile matter, ash, and last one it is fixed carbon. Second type of analysis, it is ultimate analysis. This it is elemental analysis. Here we will analyze carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen and ash. In both the analysis, we will see first of all the procedure and significance of each. So first analysis it is proximate analysis. Why it is called as proximate analysis? Because this one it will give us approximate idea about the grade, about the price of the coal. In that proximate analysis, first one it is percentage of moisture. How it is done? We have to take air dried coal sample and we have to take its weight. We have to keep that in dry silica crucible, and then that dry silica crucible we have to keep in hot air oven, electric hot air oven. For how much time? That is 1 hour, and temperature it should be 110. What will happen during this 1 hour? And the temperature it is 110. So what will happen? Whatever moisture is present there, so that will evaporate. After 1 hour, whenever we will take out that silica crucible, we have to keep that in desiccator and we have to allow it to cool. After cooling, we can take its weight. So we have now two weights. One it is before experiment, that is of only air dried coal, and the second weight it is which is now moisture free. So our formula of percentage of moisture, it will be percentage of moisture is equal to loss in weight divided by weight of coal taken into 100. So this one it will give us percentage of moisture. Why we have to analyze this percentage of moisture? What is significance of this moisture? What will happen whenever coal it will burn, moisture it will evaporate. During its burning, that moisture it will require some heat, and from where it will be taken? It will be taken from the burning of the coal. So indirectly it will reduce the calorific value of the coal. One more thing, with that steam it will carry that latent heat of evaporation. So moisture it will lower the effective calorific value of coal. So the less moisture it should be there, then we can say that that is good quality of coal. And one more thing, that moisture it will just increase the weight of the coal and it will increase the storage and transportation problem of so the good quality of coal, it is nothing but less moisture. So this one it is the silica crucible with its lid, and this one it is the desiccator. At its bottom we have to take some adsorbent, so that if moisture is there, so that will adsorb by that adsorbent. This one it is the formula, percentage of moisture is equal to m minus m1 upon m into 100, where m it is initial weight of coal and m1 it is final weight of coal, that is nothing but after experiment, after 1 hour, whatever the weight of that coal. So this one it is the numerical for Boyle's gas calorimeter. Data it is given. Volume of gas burnt, that is nothing but capital V. Mass of cooling water, capital M. Temperature of inlet water and outlet water, that is T1 and T2. Mass of steam condensed, that is small m. And we have to calculate GCV and MCV. We have that formula. GCV is equal to capital M into T2 minus T1 upon M. V. GCV is equal to capital M T2 minus T1 upon V. This it will come in terms of kilocalorie per meter cube. In some books, in place of that capital M, W it is also given. Then the NCV it is M T2 minus T1 upon V into, or we can say that GCV minus M into 587 upon capital V. We can put the values and then we will get the result for GCV and NCV. Next is in proximate analysis is ash. We have to analyze percentage of ash also. What is that ash? Ash, it is nothing but the inorganic matter. After burning of coal, it will remain as it is. It is not having any calorific value. It will just increase the weight of the coal. So we have to analyze the percentage of ash. Now which coal we have to take for that? Which is now moisture free, which is now volatile matter free. So that coal we have to take. That is nothing but its weight, it is nothing but M3. So that M3 weight of coal we have to keep in muffle furnace. Its temperature, it should be 700 to 750. Generally half an hour it is required, but we have to take out that after half an hour. We have to check what is its weight, and then again we have to keep that for some 5 minutes. Again we have to take out that, and again we have to see what is the weight, constant weight of that residue. And then if we are getting the constant weight, then we can stop that experiment. So percentage of ash, it is nothing but weight of ash left divided by weight of coal into 100. So here formula it will be M4. M4 it is that weight of ash left, whatever left behind in that silica crucible, into 100 divided by weight of coal, it is nothing but the M. Why we are determining that ash? Because this, it is inorganic matter, it will remain as it is, it will decrease the calorific value. That is one reason. And the second reason, it is its disposal, ash disposal, it is problematic. And then ash deposited in the fire bars interferes with the circulation of air. Then it also form clinker on that fire bars. So this, it is hinder that air circulation. So because of that, the better quality of coal means lesser quantity of ash. So better quality of coal means lesser percentage of moisture, lesser percentage of volatile matter, and lesser percentage of ash. Last part in proximate analysis, it is percentage of fixed carbon. What is the formula for that fixed carbon? It is 100 minus sum of the percentage of moisture, volatile matter, and ash content of a coal sample. Higher the percentage of fixed carbon, naturally greater is its calorific value and better is its quality. So the better quality of coal means lesser percentage of moisture, lesser percentage of volatile matter, lesser percentage of ash, and more percentage of fixed carbon. Information regarding the percentage of all and percentage of fixed carbon, it will help us in designing the furnace and the firebox. So we have to analyze all four with that procedure. So in short, this table, it is given here, the temperature and time duration and which instrument that we have to use and what is its formula. So that is all given in this table. This, it is numerical based on proximate analysis. One numerical we will solve. First of all, I will just read that numerical. 1.5 gram of coal sample was heated in silica crucible at 110 degrees centigrade for 1 hour. The weight of the residue was 1.43 gram. So up to this, our first experiment is there, that is percentage of moisture, because it is heated for 1 hour and temperature it is 110. So from here we will calculate first of all the percentage of moisture, then we will see the next part. So here loss in weight of coal into 100 upon weight of coal, that is nothing but the percentage of moisture. Loss in weight of coal, how we will calculate for that first line? It is 1.5 gram of coal sample, it is nothing but the weight of coal, or this it is weight of coal before the experiment. So this it is 1.5. Then minus how much weight of residue is there after the experiment, that is 1.43. So 1.5 minus 1.43 into 100 divided by 1.5, that is weight of coal taken. So its percentage of moisture, it is 4.66. Then that 1.43 gram of coal, it is taken for the next experiment. So the residue was then heated in a silica crucible covered with lid for exactly 7 minutes at 950 degrees centigrade to give a residue weighing 1.03 gram. Means here we are performing the next experiment, that is percentage of volatile matter. So here what is our formula? It is again loss in weight of coal divided by weight of coal into 100. So here before experiment of volatile matter, its weight it is 1.43. After the experiment, its weight it is 1.03. So that is nothing but the loss in weight of coal. And then divided by weight of coal. Which weight of coal we have to take? That is for this whole experiment, whatever the weight of coal we have taken in first experiment, that is percentage of moisture. So this it will be 1.5, because from that 1.5 we are analyzing everything. So here 1.43 minus 1.03 divided by 1.5 into 100. So percentage of volatile matter it is 26.66. Then the next experiment it is done, that is percentage of ash. So crucible was then heated without any lid to a constant weight, that and the constant weight it is 0.12 gram. So calculate each. So the third part, it is percentage of ash is equal to weight of residue into 100 divided by weight of coal. Here there is no need to subtract anything. Which weight we have to take? That is last one which is remaining. So that is 0.12 divided by 1.5 into 100. So the ash weight it will be 8%. And then percentage of fixed carbon it is nothing but 100 minus all percentage. So it should be 60.68%. Now just for example I have shown here, but whenever we will take that webinar, during that I will explain some 2 to 3 examples, so that how that numerical we can solve it for proximate analysis. Again one more it is given. Next analysis it is ultimate analysis. It is also called as elemental analysis. In this analysis we are analyzing carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen and ash. In first procedure we will analyze carbon and hydrogen both. Here what we have to do, we have to take some 1 to 2 gram of coal. We have to burn it in a current of oxygen so that there will be complete combustion of coal. Carbon it will convert in terms of CO2, hydrogen it will convert in terms of H2O. So how much CO2 is formed, how much H2O is formed, from that we can analyze how much carbon and how much hydrogen is there in that coal. Carbon plus oxygen it will give us CO2. From 12 gram of carbon there will be formation of 44 gram of CO2. H2 plus half O2 that will give us H2O. From 2 gram of hydrogen there will be formation of 18 gram of H2O. How much CO2, how much H2O is formed? So for that these two are absorbed in KOH and CaCl2 tubes. KOH will absorb CO2 and CaCl2 will absorb H2O. Before the experiment we have to take weight of KOH U tube and we have to take weight of CaCl2 U tube. After the experiment again we have to take the weight of both the tubes. Whatever increase in their weights, that is nothing but the weight of CO2 and weight of H2O is formed. In next diagram we will see how it is done. So here this one it is the diagram. So here that compound, that is coal, which we have to analyze, that we have to take, then we have to burn it, so that this carbon it will convert in terms of CO2, H2 it will convert in terms of H2O. First one U tube it is nothing but the CaCl2 U tube. So from that CO2 and H2O it will both pass through these two U tubes. First of all H2O it will absorb in CaCl2 U tube, then only CO2 it will pass to that next U tube, and that is of KOH. So that is and there CO2 it will absorb. Before the experiment we have to take weight of that CaCl2 U tube, we have to take weight of KOH U tube. So whatever increase in their weight, it is nothing but the weight of H2O, weight of CaCl, weight of CO2. So CaCl2 plus 7H2O it will give us CaCl2 7H2O, and that KOH it will absorb the CO2, so it will convert in terms of K2CO3 plus H2O. Again I will repeat here, whatever H2 is there that will convert in terms of H2O, it will absorb in CaCl2. So whatever increase in CaCl2, it is nothing but the weight of H2O. Then whatever carbon is there, that will convert in terms of CO2, that will absorb in KOH. So whatever increase in weight of KOH U2, it is nothing but the weight of CO2. Now from that weights, how to calculate that percentage of carbon and hydrogen. So now here we will see how the calculation of percentage of carbon it is done. If A, it is increase in weight of KOH tube. So that is nothing but the weight of CO2 formed, because CO2 it is absorbed in KOH tube. Now we know that 44 gram of CO2 if it will form, that will form from 12 gram of carbon. So 44 gram of CO2, it contains 12 gram of carbon. Now how much CO2 it is formed? It is A. So A gram of CO2, how much carbon it is there? So that is A gram of CO2 contains A into 12 upon 44 gram of carbon. But this carbon, it is present in W gram of coal. Whatever that weight of coal we have taken for that experiment, it is nothing but the W. So W gram of coal, it will contain A into 12 upon 44 gram of carbon. So how much in 100? That is nothing but the percentage of carbon. So percentage of carbon, it is nothing but 12 upon 44 into A upon W into 100. A, it is nothing but weight of CO2 form. In similar fashion, we have to calculate percentage of hydrogen. Now if B, it is increase in weight of CaCl2 tube, that is nothing but weight of H2O form, because H2O it will absorb in CaCl2. So we know that 18 gram of H2O, it is formed from 2 gram of hydrogen, or we can see that 18 gram of H2O contain 2 gram of hydrogen. So here how much it is there in B gram? So that is B into 2 upon 18 gram of hydrogen is present in B gram of H2O, but that it is in W gram of coal. So W gram of coal, it contains B into 2 upon 18 gram of hydrogen. How much it is there in 100 gram of coal? So that is nothing but its percentage of hydrogen. So percentage of hydrogen is equal to 2 upon 18 into B divided by W into 100. So here percentage of hydrogen, it is nothing but 2 upon 18 into weight of H2O form divided by weight of coal taken into 100. In similar fashion, we can see this for percentage of carbon. It is 12 upon 44 into weight of CO2 form divided by weight of coal taken into 100. Carbon and hydrogen in coal directly contribute towards the calorific value. So higher the percentage of carbon and hydrogen, better is the quality of coal, higher is its calorific value. Next estimation is estimation of nitrogen. Name of this method, it is Geldhals method. What is done here in Geldhals method? Powdered air dried coal, it is taken in that Geldhals flask, and in that Geldhals flask we have to take with that coal H2SO4, CuSO4 and K2SO4 as a catalyst. What will happen in that experiment? Again one more it is given. How the calculation of percentage of nitrogen it is done? So if N, it is the normality of HCl, of that standard acid, and then N, it is normality of NaOH, which is used for blank and back titration. V1 and V2, these are two readings. V1 it is back titration reading, means with sample reading, means where we have passed the NH3, and V2 it is blank titration reading. So from V2 minus V1 we will get how much acid it is consumed by NH3. So here 1000 ml of 1 normal HCl, it will correspond to 1 normal of NH3, which in turn corresponds to 14 gram of nitrogen. So directly we can write down it as 1000 ml of 1 normal HCl, it corresponds to 14 gram of nitrogen. Now we have not used 1000 ml of 1 normal HCl, but how much we have used? That is V2 minus V1. So the formula it will be V2 minus V1 into N, and it is normality of HCl into 14 gram of nitrogen divided by 1000. Now this quantity, it is nothing but in W gram of coal that we have taken for the experiment. So W gram of coal contain this much. So how much it is in 100 gram of coal? That is nothing but its percentage. So percentage of nitrogen, it will be equal to V2 minus V1 into N into 14 divided by 1000 into 100 upon weight of coal. So that is nothing but the formula for the percentage of nitrogen. One more simple is there. If we will cut that 100 and 1000, so here the formula it will come percentage of nitrogen is equal to V2 minus V1 into normality of HCl into 1.4 divided by weight of coal, if we will cancel that 100 and 1000. Nitrogen in the coal, it is not having any calorific value, so good quality of coal should have very little nitrogen. Now the next estimation, it is estimation of sulfur. Name of that method it is Ishka method. This it is performed in bomb calorimeter. So known amount of coal sample, it is burned completely in that bomb calorimeter. Then this sulfur it is oxidized to SO2 and SO3. Then that SO3 or SO2, this it is dissolved in water, and then it is converted in terms of H2SO4 that we have to treat with barium chloride. There it will convert in terms of barium sulfate, and then this barium sulfate precipitate we have to filter, wash, ignite it, and then we have to take its weight. Now we have to see some fuels in detail, like first coal or solid fuel. Coal is a highly carbonous matter that has been formed as a result of alteration of vegetable matter under certain favorable conditions. So vegetable matter it is converted in terms of highly carbonous matter, that is nothing but the coal. What that coal contain? Coal contain it is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and besides this it contain non-combustible inorganic matter. The process of converting that plants to coal, it is called as coalification, formation of coal. So the formation of coal under effect of pressure, temperature and bacteria, that is nothing but the coalification. These are the different grades of coal. So the wood, peat, lignite, bituminous. In that bituminous again, then subbituminous is there, and then the last one it is anthracite. These are the different grades of coal. These are different ranks of coal. We know that as we go from wood to peat to lignite to bituminous coal to anthracite coal, carbon content, its calorific value, its hardness, its black color, its luster, it will increase from peat to anthracite. And from peat to anthracite, moisture content, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and sulfur and volatile matter, it goes on decreasing. So from peat to anthracite, carbon content and calorific value, it will increase. We are interested in calorific value. So it will decide the price of the coal also. And sulfur containing coal is not suitable for metallurgical coal, and then this sulfur it will contribute to pollution of environment. So better quality of coal means less percentage of sulfur. Then the next analysis it is ash. This it is the same procedure as it is described in proximate analysis, and the last one it is oxygen. No separate method it is there, no separate procedure it is there, sorry. So percentage of oxygen is equal to 100 minus all percentage, that is 100 minus percentage of carbon plus hydrogen plus nitrogen plus sulfur plus ash, that is nothing but the percentage of oxygen. Lower the oxygen content, more is the maturity of the coal and greater is its calorific value. So some numericals we have to see based on ultimate analysis. So first I will just read. So 0.2 gram of coal sample on complete combustion in presence of continuous oxygen supply. Increase the weight of U tube containing CaCl2 by 0.1 gram and that of KOH by 0.52 gram. Calculate percentage of carbon and hydrogen. Now here directly it will not be given that how much H2O it is formed, how much CO2 is formed. We have to identify it. That is, if increase in weight of CaCl2 is there, so that is nothing but weight of H2O, and increase in weight of KOH, it is nothing but weight of CO2 form. So the formula it is there and we have to put the values, we will get the result. Only one thing don't forget, by chance if you will reverse the weight, that is in percentage of carbon formula, if you will take weight of H2O, in percentage of hydrogen formula, if you will by chance, by mistake, you will take weight of CO2, then here its result will be reversed. That is carbon percentage it will be less and that of hydrogen percentage it will be more. And if it will be the case, it will, we can't say that that is coal. So by chance if it will be there, so from the result again you have to verify carbon percentage in coal, it should be more than that of percentage of hydrogen. Next is for nitrogen. 1.2 gram of coal sample in Geldhals experiment liberated NH3 which was absorbed in H2SO4. The resultant solution required 10 ml of 0.1 normal NaOH for complete neutralization. The blank titration reading was 50 ml. Calculate the percentage of nitrogen. So formula is percentage of nitrogen is equal to V2 minus V1 into N into 14 into 100 divided by 1000 into W. W it is weight of coal, N it is normality of H2SO4. Now here V2 and V1. V2 it is blank and V1 it is back titration reading. So put the values, we will get the percentage of nitrogen. In some numerical, blank titration will not be given if, but there how much amount of excess acid it is taken, so that will be given. So from that you have to use that blank titration reading. And since some only back titration it will be given, but how much standard acid it is taken, so that we have to consider it as blank titration. Nitrogen percentage always it should be low. So from result you can verify if your answer it is correct or wrong. This one it is for percentage of sulfur. So 1 gram of coal sample completely combusted in a bomb calorimeter. The solution from the bomb pot on treatment with barium chloride, barium sulfate precipitate is formed, and this it is washed, dry, and then its weight it is 0.3 gram. So we have only two weights. 1 gram of coal sample it is taken and how much barium sulfate it is formed, that is 0.3. Now what is formula for percentage of sulfur? It is 32 upon 233 into weight of barium sulfate formed divided by weight of coal into 100. So put the values, you will get the sulfur percentage. Again the sulfur percentage it should be low. From that value also you can verify if your answer it is correct or wrong. Thank you.